All right, we're going to pick up where we left off. This is round 3 of Mike McCallum versus James Toney. Let's see what we see. Now, James is going to step on this lead foot, firing out his jab, and getting outside of Mike's counter. Now, James is going to look to double it up and check out that rear hand parry by Mike, and then this drop by James. Okay, James will jab as Mike parries right here. Now they'll fold out their jabs, time each other on the same beat. James will fold out his jab. Mike's going to feint. Then he's going to commit. Check out the pull parry from James, the little drop. And here's an interesting tidbit. Notice James goes from his rear foot to his lead foot. But watch this rear hand control right here with that down parry. Little pendulum step by Mike. And then they'll time each other on the same beat. So James will get to that lead foot. Snap out that jab. Mike counters. And then James fires right back. Then we have a little bit of movement. All right, this is an interesting sequence. James is going to snap out his jab, occupying Mike's rear hand right here. Now he's going to commit a jab to the body as Mike looks to counter back with a jab to James's head. Now, Mike's going to stifle this jab to the body with his rear elbow, and James drops, getting under Mike's counter right here. Then we're going to see a pull parry from James. One more. And then the drop. Now this is another cool pattern. James is going to get to this lead foot, throw out his leaping jab. Now he's going to shoot his jab to the body right here where the low guard from Mike creates this hole. Then he's going to push off this rear foot, go back up top as Mike looks to parry. Okay, James will feint his leaping hook as Mike pulls. Now Mike's going to drop his weight, push off this rear foot, shooting the jab to the body, and then they're going to time each other on the same beat. So Mike will go up top and check out this parry pull. Then Mike's going to go to the body, but hone in on James. He's looking to catch Mike with this little hook right here. Next, note the feint, and then James's reaction right here. And check out another feint, and then the pull from James. And then one more, the pull drop. Now, this is neat. Mike's loaded for a leaping hook, while James's drop gives him access to his rear overhand. So Mike will catch him with this hook, and then James's rear overhand will sail. All right, James will jab as Mike parries and pulls. Then Mike's going to push off this rear foot and counter back. And again, note that parry pull. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but notice when James looks to get back from his rear foot to his lead foot, he'll bring that rear hand with him right here. Now, Mike will jab as James drops, and then he'll double it up. Now, James is going to get to his lead foot, spring off with his leaping jab, dropping to the right side of his line, getting under Mike's counter while looking for the jab to the body. And then a little pendulum step by James. Okay, Mike will push off this rear foot, snapping off his jab as James shifts his weight to his lead foot, slipping inside right here, looking for the lead hook to the body. Then a little pendulum step. So Mike will snap off his jab as James parries and pulls. Then he's going to drop as James gets back to this lead foot. Mike's going to shoot that jab to the body as James looks for his lead counter. All right, Mike's going to get to that lead foot, snap off his jab as James parries and pulls. Now, this was a neat idea by James that didn't quite pan out. Now, Mike's going to go ahead and double up his jab as James looks for his overhand right here. Then Mike will fire off one more jab. Then we'll see a little bit of movement. Now Mike will look to time James as he's coming in with that jab. James will double it up, catch a Mike as he pulls. He'll look for that counter, a little more movement. Feint the leaping hook, and then we're going to shoot the jab to the body. Okay, we've seen this pattern a little bit earlier. James is going to leap off that lead foot with his leaping jab, then look for the jab to the body as Mike looks to counter him right here. Now, Mike looks to catch James as he pulls. Then they're going to time each other, and then one more time. So James will go up top, note this catch, then shoot the jab to the body. Then go back up top one more time. Note that parry. Now, Mike got pushed to his rear foot. His weight is right there, so he has the ability to shoot off his jab, catching James. James now pushed to his rear foot is going to come back with a rear cross to the body right here. And then Mike is going to try to catch him with his jab. And then James folds out that jab. Mike pushes off his rear foot and catches James one more time. All right, Mike's going to snap off this jab as James parries and pulls right here. Mike will double it up as James drops. Now, this is neat. So James, all his weight is on his rear foot. He's stepping this lead foot back and out, and he's going to shift his weight to his lead foot right here. Then he's going to pull this rear foot back and then transition his weight to his rear foot. Now, Mike's going to fire off a jab, catch James, and then James will look for a jab to the body. Now, James is going to snap off his jab or cross, but let's hone in on Mike. His head's over his lead foot. He's going to step this rear foot back, pulling to his rear foot. Now, note the rear foot is pointing towards James. Then he's throwing his rear cross right here. And then Mike will bob down as James looks for a lead hook to the body. Okay, Mike will fire off his jab and check out this rear hand parry from James. James will look to counter as Mike pulls. And then Mike's going to come back with his hook as James drops right here, coming back with his rear hook to the body. So Mike's going to get to his lead foot, throw out his leaping jab, then look for the jab to the body. Now James is going to counter back with his own jab as Mike slips inside right here, looking for that lead hook to the body. Now, James is going to counter out with his own hook, and then Mike's going to bob down on this lead foot, and then Mike will double up with his jab. All right, Mike will jab as James parries and pulls right here. Then he's going to go ahead and drop. Now, Mike's going to follow up with a jab cross, and James is going to pull to his rear foot, and then back to that lead foot and check out that rear hand cover. Now Mike will jab as James parries and drops. He'll come back firing his own jab. Then they're going to look to time each other. Okay, this is neat, just the idea. So Mike will jab and James will slip into his lead foot right here. So he went from his rear foot to his lead foot. Now with James on his lead foot, Mike will jab again and James is going to pull to his rear foot. He's going to step forward here, getting under the third jab, dropping right here. Now, the next one he's going to pull, so that's the fourth one. And then he's going to shift his weight from his rear foot to his lead foot, getting under the fifth jab. So James will jab as Mike parries and pulls. Then Mike, being on that rear foot, is going to counter back at James. And then James is going to get back to this lead foot, looking for his lead uppercut. All right, James will snap off his jab, catch a Mike on the bounce. See some movement, a little bit of feints. James will throw his jab cross as Mike catches that jab, but then gets caught by this cross. James will bob down right here off that lead foot. Check out this rear hand cover. Then he's going to drop under this jab. Looks for his hook cross as Mike drops. Next, they'll look to time each other. Flick out that jab, little parry by Mike. Now Mike will throw out his jab cross as James catches that jab, pulls the cross. Now James is looking to get off his rear uppercut right here. He's going to catch this hook from Mike and then counter out with his own hook. Then another jab from Mike as James pulls. Okay, James will jab, check out this parry. Then we're going to see some movement. So Mike will get to his lead foot, fire out his double jab as James parries and pulls, then drops. Now Mike will time James to the body. All right, James will jab as Mike slips in, bringing his right with him, catching James as he drops right here. Now let's go ahead and zero in on Mike. He's on his rear foot, James will jab, and Mike's going to slip into this lead foot right here, and then they're going to time each other. Now Mike's head's over his lead foot. He'll jab as James pulls. Now they're both going to drop, but Mike's going to push off his rear foot and fire out that jab. Okay, James got to that lead foot. He's going to shift his weight to his rear foot, throw his jab, cross. Now, Mike's going to pull that jab and then get caught by this cross. He's going to come back with his rear uppercut and note the pull from James. James is going to counter back with his own rear hook. And one thing to notice, James currently is in a southpaw stance. He's going to double up with a rear uppercut, then rear hook, shift, and then a little control. So James will jab, note the parry, and then counter. Mike will feint and then commit as James pulls, then drops. Then they're going to time each other. All right, James will jab, occupying Mike's rear hand right here, then slip inside, looking for that lead hook to the body. Then Mike will jab as James pulls. Now Mike's over his lead foot. He's going to shift to the right side of his line, pushing off his rear foot, throwing this jab to the body. Check out that rear hand parry by James. Now Mike's going to get back to that lead foot, throw out his leaping hook as James pulls. And then we'll have a couple feints, a couple pendulum steps. Okay, James will jab as Mike parries and pulls. Then Mike's going to jab right here, and James is going to catch him with this lead hook. And that'll do it for round 3.